from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. for their 10-hour sale. Sale rates as low as 6.99% with approved credit at Midwest Marine. No payments for the first 90 days. All signed deals get an in-store credit of $1,000 to use on parts, accessories, or service. Purchase a new boat over $50,000 and get a free Old Town kayak. The 10-hour sale, Friday, May 24th from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. only at Midwest Marine, 13800 South Highway 71 in Grandview. Midwest Marine.
1 minute magic time, people.
Thank you very much.
Tell you about my incredible experience with Border Magic. They just installed stunning custom concrete landscape edging around our entire home. Our landscaping now looks like a work of art. This concrete landscaping edging will improve your curb appeal and enhance your property value. I would recommend Border Magic to anyone. Check out images of their work at southkc.bordermagic.com. Border Magic, a perfect cost-effective way to create a gorgeous first impression of your home. Call Border Magic today.
At Lowe's, save big every day when you buy in bulk. Save 10% on your choice of any 6 or more interior 6-panel pre-hung slab or bifold doors. Plus, save an extra 5% every day on eligible purchases when you use your Lowe's Business Credit Card. Visit us for the materials you need. Lowe's knows pros. Selection varies by location while supplies last. Discount taken at time of purchase. See sales associate for details. 5% offer subject to credit approval. Exclusions and terms apply. See store at lowes.com/credit for details.
You're listening to the most powerful sports station in the country. Sports Radio 810, WHB Kansas City, the power of sports.
America's largest all-sports radio station presents the #1 motorsports show for over 2 decades, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod & Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Todd Surprise running the show for us here at RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. My partner, Kirk Elliott, for the last 24 years. And
24 years.
24 years. We're just about ready to grasp 25 years. Kirk, do you believe that?
Yeah, we're going to make it?
We're going to make it.
We're going to make it.
We may have some speed bumps.
Todd says, he informed us this morning that he is gone after 25 years of us doing
So you're going to be with us another year.
Another year.
Well, I'm happy about that, Todd.
Yeah,
Thanks for sticking with us.
Oh, absolutely. No, it's fun. Like I said, I
But you're an empty nester now,
Well,
so
yeah.
you want to get out and travel the world.
Things have changed
what you wanna
dramatically
do.
at the
Yeah.
Surprise household. So, I appreciate all the graduations going on for everybody in the Midwest here this weekend. So, congratulations to the 2024 graduates, no matter if it's college, junior high, or high school. It's a big weekend for a lot of people here in town.
Well, congratulations to Zach, your son.
I appreciate that.
Just walked across the stage yesterday.
Yes, sir. It was at the Sporting Kansas. And let me tell you guys, what an awesome facility that Sporting Kansas City venue is over there, the local soccer place. I've never been in it. When I was there and toured it while they were building it, but never actually been in it.
We've driven by it many times getting into Kansas Speedway. I've never been inside Sporting.
Right in the back door of Kansas Speedway. But what a nice facility. And, yes, good times were had by all at the graduation thing. And just Zach Halen's surprise.
Todd, did you get a little emotional when he walked across the stage? Did you get a little emotional?
Yesterday was the worst. I haven't had that much the last baseball game broke my wife down. She bawled all through the game. After the game, everything. It didn't bother me as much. The baseball one didn't. Yesterday hurt a lot, and I think it's because I'm a stay-at-home dad. I've been a stay-at-home dad since 1999.
Right.
I started working with you guys about 4 or 5 years later after that.
Right.
So literally, maybe 7 years after. But yes, it's a chapter has come to an end, and it was still, yesterday was very emotional. And I had some teachers come up to me and say, I wish my son could be everything that your son is. That's how much I respect your son. Wow. And that made more.
Boy, that's a great compliment.
Absolutely. Isn't it? And I'm just going to say this for the record: highest grade point average at Piper, or highest ACT score at Piper this year.
Really,
that's
highest.
Outstanding.
He scored a 32 on his ACT. So
now he's going to Mizzou.
Mizzou. He'll be out there full time in the
And-
scholars
and
program.
his girlfriend's
and his
going there
girlfriend too.
as well.
All of them are locked in, ready to go.
I want to put out also congratulations my niece, my grandniece,
Absolutely.
Jessica, who is graduating from high school, also up in Iowa, Ankeny Centennial High School. Congratulations to her as well. So congratulations to everyone who's graduating.
The nice weekend too. You know, we've got good weather. It turned out it's going to be a great weekend,
Hey,
guys.
listen.
If you're going to watch racing, this is a great weekend, guys.
I'm going to the Gladstone Blues Fest tonight. That's where I'm going.
You're not going to the racetrack?
I'm not going to the racetrack. I'm going to take a night off from racing.
He needs a dose of music.
I need some music.
Well, maybe you can ride with me over to I can ride with you to Sweet Springs tomorrow night. How about that?
Yeah, you got a big race tomorrow night, right?
Sweet Springs?
Yeah.
USAC Midgets. They're at
Man, that's
Belleville tonight. Last night they were at Belleville, and they're going to be at Sweet Springs tomorrow night. We'll be over there for that.
McIntosh picked up the win at Belleville last night, didn't he?
Yeah, first USAC win in a couple of years for Cannon McIntosh. He's won another series, but not in USAC Midgets for some time, and he had them all covered last night at Belleville. They raced the Midgets on the short track. They had the Silver Crown cars on the big half mile last night, practice only, getting ready for tonight's big event on the high banks. Brady Bacon had the fast car in time trials. We're going to hear from Brady here in just a little bit, but Belleville racing on both the short track and the big track tonight, so it should be fun.
Silver Crowns are going to race on the big track, right?
Yep, the big half mile. They don't race midgets on the half mile anymore. Not since
Brian Clausen.
You know, when
passed.
Brian Clausen lost his life over there in 2015. They ran two more Belleville Midget Nationals after that in 2016, 2017. But after that, they don't race midgets on the big half mile. Just
do you think that's a good idea, Kirk, not to run the midgets on the big track?
Yeah, I think so for a number of reasons. It got too expensive for these teams. You know, these motors are pretty high dollar, and they were hanging the throttle.
50, 60 grand for a motor.
They were hanging the throttle on that big half mile. It's a unique half mile. For those of you who have not been to Belleville, it's like a big circle. So you're just not letting up.
You're not
keeping that throttle hung, and it was costing these teams a lot of money to race on that big track.
Right.
So that and the safety factor is why they don't race on the big half mile for the midgets. But should be a big night there. We got a big night here in Kansas City tonight. I-70's hosting the POWRi 410 sprint cars tonight. They were at Donaldson, Iowa last night.
Right.
I don't think the guy who raced at Donaldson last night will be at I-70 because Aaron Reitzel's been racing at Knoxville on a regular basis, so I expect him to be there. But we'll see how things go tonight out at I-70. The non-wing sprint cars are racing down at Electric City Speedway in Butler this weekend. Wesley Smith won there last night. And boy, did we have some pretty exciting racing in both the High Limit and the World of Outlaws last night, Scott.
Oh, definitely. Kirk, what did you think about Brad Sweet picking up the win there at Outlaw Speedway?
That was on Thursday night.
That was on Thursday night, but I've got to say,
hard to see.
That was the dustiest track that maybe I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, they had a lot of dust on that racetrack.
Hey, Kirk, a
lot of dust.
You couldn't even see the cars coming off turn 4, could you?
No.
What track was that again?
Outlaw Speedway. It's
Speedway.
in the Finger Lakes region of upstate New York. They said it was north of Watkins Glen, about 30 miles. I think that's what they said. But the race, it wasn't so bad. It was, it was a racing track. You just couldn't see.
You just couldn't see the cars.
Yeah.
Right.
But
the cameras got blown out a little bit, didn't they, Kurt?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just hard to see what was going on.
We've done a lot of broadcasts, and the one that stands out to me over the years is Black Hills Speedway. Yep. Remember when we up there at Black Hills Speedway, and it was really dusty that time we were up there? Do you remember that?
Yeah, the ASCS tour up there.
You could hardly see the backstretch when you're running.
That was a big half-mile racetrack, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Well, on Thursday night, Brad Sweet outdueled Tyler Courtney for the win. Zeb Wise finished in third, and James McFadden rounded out
Zeb
the
Weiss,
top four.
Zeb Weiss led a good portion of that race. Did you see that, Kurt?
Yeah. What happened to him?
He just kind of faded there a little bit at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's
Tyler Courtney got around him. Brad Sweet got around him. And Zeb Weiss, I was kind of pulling for Zeb a little bit, to be honest
yeah, I
with
mean,
you.
he's not had as great a season as what he had come into hoping for. That is for sure. They had had some issues throughout the season, so Zeb Wise trying to get things together, but he did end up in third place in the feature event. The guy that I thought would do better as well is Corey Eliason, another one of the high limit drivers. He's had some struggles trying to get things up. But the other guy that's not visited Victory Lane in the High Limit Series, he's won in the World of Outlaws, but not the High Limit, is Rico Abreu. He changed all that last night
He
at
picked up the
Utica
win.
Rome Speedway.
Yeah, he picked up the win last night.
And Brent Marks looked like the guy to beat early on in that race, but he faded a little bit. It looked like Rico in last night's race on that half mile at Utica Rome Speedway was working that high side better than anybody else. Brent Marks tried to stay on the bottom. That just didn't work out for him. And Rico was right in the lip, and that set him up for a big victory last night at Utica Rome.
Did you notice that the racetrack last night, Kirk? There was a ridge all the way around. There was like a little curb going all the way around, but then there was some spots where the curb kind of fell off a little bit, and some drivers had some problems with that last night.
They did.
Didn't
Looked
they?
like a lot of crumbs up there and some of that stuff. It was a little bit marbly, shall we say, a little bit different surface than what they normally race on.
But they had a curb down there in 3 and 4, and the curb was about 6 inches high. But that curb, it wasn't consistent. It kind of fell off there a little bit, and a lot of guys had some problems with that last
I think
night.
that's why Marks thought that if he just stayed down at the bottom of the racetrack, that would lead him to victory. I think he was a little bit wary of testing a lot of that up there, and what appeared to be the fast car, Marks ends up in fourth place last night. I think he was thinking about, I want to roll this car in the trailer when it's all said and done.
No doubt.
I'll take a fourth place finish and get out of here. Rico is not that kind of driver. Rico takes chances. That's why he's so popular with the race fans. He's pretty exciting to watch, and he wasn't afraid to get up there and test that out last night, and it led to his first high-limit victory of the year.
What about Buddy Kofoid?
How about that race? World of Outlaws, Attica,
Last
Raceway
corner
Park.
pass. Last corner pass.
Carson Macedo, sometimes it's better to be in second than
Right.
in the lead.
Right.
I'm not sure Carson saw where he was coming from. But Buddy Kofoid comes up with the big last lap victory at Attica Raceway Park.
Hey, Kirk, did you feel like they banged a little bit going down the back straightaway?
It looked like they touched a little bit,
They felt like it felt like they touched a little bit.
Yeah.
To be honest
and
with
sometimes when you touch like that,
Right.
a tire may go down or it
Right.
may send somebody flipping. That wasn't the case. That was pretty clean action, I thought, between Buddy Kofoid and Carson Macedo last night. I thought those two guys raced pretty clean, and Macedo at the end of the race said, my car, I was struggling there at the end anyway, so
Right.
he won. He had the fastest race car. Congratulations to him. So I was a little bit surprised about Carson's comments at the end of the race, but I think it was all based on he wasn't real happy the way his car was performing at the end of that race.
Did you hear Austin McCarl put a little dig in on Aaron Reitzel? Did you hear that the other night?
Now they raced at Donaldson, Iowa last night, right?
Right.
Lee
Yeah.
County Speedway, Power I 410 sprints.
Right.
Reitzel wins. Now, what was the issue there between he and Austin?
He just kind of threw him under the bus a little bit. Maybe if Todd could pull up the Victory Lane interview.
And where was that? I'm sorry.
I don't think that's up there on the
Yeah.
start to finish TV.
Yeah, we
from
were
last night.
Yeah, we were looking for it. I don't think they had the interview.
They didn't have that interview posted up there.
They didn't have it
I'm
up
not
there?
sure we can hear it right away.
Oh.
So Yeah, I don't know. Start to finish TV didn't have the full replay up there. At least I couldn't find it. But paraphrase for us. What did he say?
He just kind of said that guy. He kind of threw him under the bus. He just said that guy over there.
He's got
Aaron Reitzel is not afraid to feed people a wheel.
Aaron Reitzel is not the kind of guy that people want to mess with, be honest with you. Because he'll throw a right rear to anybody.
He's just he don't care. He has fun with all of that. You know what I mean? It's like whatever you guys want to do.
He embraces being the
That's
bad
what I was
boy.
getting ready to say. He embraces all of it.
He does. He's been a bad boy ever since the ASCS days, hasn't he?
Well, ever since I've been with you guys,
right?
Because I didn't know him from Adam, right? I came into this pretty stock dry, but I got the impression right away that there was a lot of people that he might have rubbed the wrong way in the business, out on the track, so to speak.
Wayne Johnson affectionately called him Aaron Reitzel.
That was
what Wayne Johnson.
Right.
Hey, I enjoy watching Aaron Reitzel drive. He makes, you got to have a bad guy out there.
Hey,
I think you got to have a guy that's willing to be the villain out there, and Aaron Reitzel is.
He always makes time for the racing boys, and I love that.
Aaron
he picks up the phone every time we call. So
every time that we've ever called him, he's always said that he'll be on the show.
He'll be at Knoxville tonight. Last week, Reitzel won the 360 feature, didn't he?
And maybe we'll get him on Monday on Mostly Motorsports.
Yeah. We're going to try to reach out to Betty Kofoid, too, after that thrilling victory last night. But, that's interesting. That's why people go to the races. So you see the back and forth talk like that.
Kirk, you said that the Silver Crown cars at Belleville last night, all they did was practice, right?
This had like 3 sessions of hot laps last night. Brady Bacon came out there in the early session, a beautiful-looking number 9 Silver Crown car, and he looked like the fast guy out there last night. Justin Grant, who battled Brady Bacon for the victory last year in that all very memorable finish when Justin Grant got up into the fence at Belleville last night. Justin Grant's got a fast car tonight, so I think we very well may see a repeat of the slide job fest that Brady Bacon and Justin Grant had last year.
How many Silver Crown cars did they have?
They had, I want to say, 18, 20. Let me try to look that up and see what how many cars came out to practice last night. I see we had. I'm looking. Looks like we had 24 cars last night.
24 cars.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good
How about
field.
that? That's a good field.
That's a good field of cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You had Brady Bacon, number 1, C.J. Leary, number 2, Mario Classer, Logan Seavey, Cody Swanson, who's always good in these Silver Crown cars, Matt Westfall, Mitchell Moles, Chase Stockton, and Justin Grant. Kevin Thomas Jr. will also be in a Silver Crown car. Dazen Persley, Jerry Coons Jr., who's a 2-time Belleville Midget Nationals champion. Shane Cottle. Kaylee Bryson will be in the field tonight. And here's one for you. Robert Ballou is in a Silver Crown car.
No way.
Yeah.
Robert Ballou in a Silver Crown car. That would be interesting to see Robert Ballou in a Silver Crown car, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir. That is alone worth the price
Robert
of admission.
Ballou is one of those guys. He's kind of like Aaron Reitzel. He doesn't really care what anybody thinks of him.
His fellow competitors really don't like Robert all that much.
They don't care much for him.
But Robert really doesn't care if they like him or not.
Right, right.
So it should be a whale of a show tonight on the high banks out there. I'm planning on heading out there tonight. Check that out. And a lot of racing going on this weekend. So it looks like the weather's going to be good tonight all the way around.
We've got interviews from Brady Bacon, Clinton Boyles, Jack Wagner, Chase Rodman, and a second interview that we're going to play. Todd, you said this was a little more in detail at the end.
So we had people.
We got a couple Brady Bacon interviews, don't we?
If people didn't tune into our show on Monday, which is Mostly Motorsports on our podcast, we had an interview with Brady Bacon, and it was we had him for quite a while. Some guys we keep a little longer than others, and some of them we don't intend to keep longer. They just have a lot of information. The Brady Bacon interview turned out to be, it was almost a 30-minute interview, and when I went back to cut some stuff out, there really wasn't a lot to kind of cut out. So what I kind of did was just cut out the stuff that had already happened, some of the racing things that already happened, some news that wasn't relevant. But he's got some really good comments on some things that, he comments about the Jesse Hockett, Daniel McMillan, and 410 Racing Short Track Nationals, and his comment,
the Jesse Hockett, Daniel McMillan Memorial going 410 Racing as well.
And a little bit of comment about Knoxville, because obviously Brady Bacon goes with Knoxville very well. So, like you said, stick around to the very end of the show. We're going to have a little quick interview at the very end, but when we come back, the Brady Bacon interview, the bigger part of the interview will be coming back here on this after we come back from commercial break. So, yeah, really good interview, guys.
And one final note before we go to break. Today is qualifying day at Indy. The Indianapolis 500.
Looking forward to that
will have
today.
their qualifying this weekend.
Everybody wants to watch Kyle Larson.
Kyle Larson is number 2 on the practice sheet yesterday. I watched quite a bit of it on the Peacock Network yesterday. His 4-lap average was in the top 7. So he's got a pretty good chance to put down a pretty good number today.
He looked pretty good.
Do you
see
think
what Kyle does?
Do you think he'll get the pole?
I don't think he'll get the pole because I think Penske is too strong. All 3 of the Penske cars, Joseph Newgarden, Will Power, and Scott McLaughlin, all dominated the test session yesterday. So I think Penske will probably sweep the front row today, but I think he's got a pretty good shot of getting in that fast 12 and locking himself in to try to go for the pole tomorrow.
Yeah, it's going to be fun today. If you're a dirt track guy, just mosey on over and watch a little bit of craziness because it's our guy. It's one of our guys.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
You can't miss this spectacle. It's one of our guys.
He's got a fast enough car to compete.
Yep, no doubt.
We know that.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of Track Talk right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Brady Bacon joins us next here on Track Talk.
Track Talk. Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
2 minutes, 30 seconds, gentlemen.
Ford Tough Dealer, Bobby Sight of Rob Sight Ford. Hey, Bobby, what's going on?
Hey, Kevin. It's great to be saving Kansas City money with our 100th anniversary, $100 below factory invoice pricing on new Fords. At Rob Sight Ford, we call it the Kevin Harlan VIP Special. But it's not just for you, it's for all of our customers.
$100 below invoice? Bobby, that's great. I love saving money. But let's talk about how easy it is to buy from Rob Sight Ford.
Absolutely. Transparency is everything with Rob Sight Ford. Go to our website, robsightford.com, to find our lowest price up front, best financing rates, and we're even offering above Kelley Blue Book for qualifying trades. Get your trade offer in seconds right on the website. Easy. That's the Rob Sight Ford advantage.
Bobby, I got to say my family has bought Explorers and Expeditions from Rob Sight Ford, and they couldn't be happier. You guys are truly the best. You know, I have my eyes set on that beautiful, rugged, built Ford Tough F-150.
Perfect.
Rob Sight Ford at 135th and State Line in South Kansas City. RobSightFord.com.
Get ready to grill this weekend with great specials back at the Butcher Block at your neighborhood hen house. T-bone steaks, of course, we're talking USDA choice certified Hereford beef. It's just $11.99 a pound. Or porterhouse steaks, just $12.99 a pound. How about 93% lean ground beef? Perfect for burgers. It's ground fresh several times each day, just $4.99 a pound. St. Louis pork ribs sold in Cryovac, just $3.19 a pound. And if you love seafood, fresh Atlantic salmon portions. There's 6 ounces, just $7 each. Hen House, Kansas City's market for over 100 years.
Rev up your drive at Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales event. Explore the rugged versatility of the 2024 Telluride, the spacious comfort of the Sorento, and the all-electric innovation of the EV9. With dealer discounts on select new models and financing as low as 0.9%, you'll drive away happy. And don't forget about Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Open during construction at I-35 in Santa Fe or shop online at OlatheKia.com. Your journey begins at Brogdon. Warranty is a limited power.
30 seconds.
Details.
Get ready to tantalize your taste buds and elevate your weekend with From the Earth's exclusive specials available from Friday, May 17th through Sunday, May 19th. Satisfy your cravings with 15% off illicit edibles. Indulge in a variety of mouth-watering treats infused with premium cannabis. But wait, there's more. Mix and match any 4 illicit and cloud cover eighths and get 15% off. It's a mix and match extravaganza you won't want to miss. Visit From the Earth this weekend and treat yourself to the best in cannabis products and savings.
Welcome back. It's Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. And we had a chance to talk to Brady Bacon on Monday on Mostly Motorsports. And this is our conversation that we had with Brady Bacon. And are you ready, Todd? Yeah, I did. All right. Okay.
Well, Brady Bacon is the favorite to win the Silver Crown race at Belleville tonight. But on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show, we visited with our good friend Brady Bacon about what's going to happen this weekend and what's going on in his racing life right now.
You picked up that win at Tri-State Speedway with the World of Outlaws, man. That was a thrilling victory, wasn't it?
Yeah, for sure. You know, do it the first time last year was great, and then just solidifies everything to back it up again this year.
Hey, when you beat a guy like David Gravel, that says a lot about, because David Gravel is maybe one of the fastest cars in the World of Outlaws right now. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. They're on top of their game right now. He's a threat to win every night that they show up to the racetrack.
I got to ask you a question. We're looking at your schedule. Are you going to be running Belleville?
Yes. Yeah, we'll run just the Silver Crown car at Belleville this coming weekend.
Well, I'm happy to hear that, Brady. After you won that event last year, that has to be, and I'll say this to you, that was one of the most thrilling experiences of racing that I've ever had in my life, sitting up in the grandstand watching that race with you and Justin Grant going at it. It's been a year now that happened. That was an unbelievable event. What was your takeaway now that you look back at a year from now? It's how special that night was and the battle that you had with Justin.
Yeah, it was definitely special, really cool race. It felt more like we were racing midgets at Gas City than we were racing Silver Crown cars at Belleville. We were going at it pretty good, and then escaped from the almost wreck there at one point, and was able to get the win, and my first win at Belleville after going there, earlier in my career with the Belleville Nationals and things like that. So met a lot of people in Belleville, had some fans, and glad to get a win there, and hopefully we can back it up again this year.
Are you pretty pumped up about Kokomo?
Yeah, for sure. We're just we're here at the racetrack right now and ready to go. Our wing program has been really good this year, so we're hoping we can keep it up tonight and keep plugging away, getting better every time we hit the track. And this track obviously fits our style pretty well, and we're hoping to clip off a win for $20,000.
How many laps do you think you've got around Kokomo?
Quite a bit. This is actually, I've won some midget races and sprint car races. Never won a USAC race at Kokomo, which is kind of on the top of my bucket list. It's a little frustrating, but we've been really fast here with the wing in the past and had some mechanical problems. So we're hoping that our experience here helps us. It's definitely a unique place and really fun to race on, and we're hoping to, like I said, get it done tonight.
Seems like you put a lot more emphasis on your wing sprint car program. Talk about some of the things that you've done, the people you've added. You've really stepped it up, it seems.
Yeah, Kelly and Laura Hink have been, huge assets to my career with kind of giving me the resources to really have a competitive wing sprint car program. And we've kind of slowly built it up over the last couple of years and have a pretty solid team now, and it's enabled us to race a little bit more, which was the kind of the last ingredient I felt we needed to really be, threats to win on a consistent basis, was just some experience, time in the car, and figuring everything out. And we've been able to do that this year, and our results have reflected that.
I know that you ran a lot of ASCS back in the day with the national tour. What do you think about the World Racing Group purchasing ASCS? What's your thoughts about that?
I think it's great for 360 racing. I think it was kind of definitely, on the edge of maybe needing some life support. And
right.
The World Racing Group is obviously great at their, marketing abilities and have a huge amount of series and different kinds of racing under their banner. And I think that's what ASCS needed, some, a solid foundation for people that, racers and fans and tracks all to, put their trust in and know that things are going to be right when they go to an ASCS race. And I think the World Racing Group is going to be able to kind of get that turned around and run a good, efficient show and have a good place for those 360 racers to go, because they were running out of places for sure. And I think definitely the sport has room and a place that's needed for, 360 racing and a regional national tour of that caliber. And I think it's going to be really good. And I think you'll see it start kind of growing back to what it used to be.
Back when Emmett had it thrived. And then when Terry got it kind of was on shaky ground a little bit there for a little bit, wasn't it?
Well, I think it was on shaky ground when he got it.
Right.
Not because of him necessarily.
He's a hard worker.
He is a hard worker. I think he might have been just trying to do a little too much with not enough help, and just kind of got spread a little thin. But 360s have their issues. The cost is more than what they were designed to be, and that's created a problem. But that area of the country lacks, a place for high-level sprint car racing in general, except for the couple times a year that, maybe the Outlaws or High Limit come through there. So it's good for those tracks to have a show that they can afford. It's good for the racers to have a series that they can afford to do. And I think it's going to be good for the World Racing Group to have a stepping stone maybe into, the World of Outlaws. You can run ASCS, and they have a path, for new people to come in and run with their other series.
Let's talk non-wing sprint cars over the weekend at Bloomington. Logan Seavey, the winner. Kevin Thomas Jr. Saturday night at Hobstadt. Saturday night looked like he had a fast race car. He qualified 23rd, came from 20th to 7th. Was the qualifying what held you back at Hobstadt?
Well, that was at Bloomington. Those results are from Bloomington.
Oh, Bloomington.
Yeah.
Okay.
We drew late, didn't get a very good qualifying till weren't able to win our heat, and kind of got buried there in the feature. But passed a bunch of cars, had a really good car. But there's too many good cars to pass all of them in one race starting that far back. Hobstadt is just a little bit of a crapshoot for us in the non-wing stuff. We won the last time we were there, but this time the track's kind of a little bit different every time you go. It looks the same, he preps it the same, but it's different, and you can't really see it. Unlike most racetracks, you can see how the track's wearing or how slick it's getting, but Hobstadt's a little different. You can't really see it, so you're kind of playing the guessing game on your setup. And we were good at certain parts of the race, and then the track just kind of got where it was hard to make any moves there the last half of the race, and settle for just a mediocre finish by our standards. But Hobstadt is not something to get too worked up about if you have a bad night, because it doesn't really translate to many other places we go.
A week from Tuesday night, you'll be headed to the action track at Terre Haute for the prestigious Tony Holman Classic. You won this race last year. How big is it to win that race?
That was really big. It's kind of on, towards the top of my wins. I had won USAC races at Terre Haute before, but had never won the Holman. So that was special for me. It's just always cool to win at Terre Haute, such a historic place and a lot of tradition there. So, kind of has been on some shaky ground with different promoters and stuff over the last few years. I hope they get some continuity there and keep things going, and hoping to have a good race there this week. And the week of Indy is always exciting around here. A lot of buzz for the 500. I hope the stands are packed every night and we can win some races and put on a good show for everybody.
Ciciana sells a lot of T-shirts. Let everybody know where they can buy the T-shirts online.
BradyBaconRacing.com is my website. There's a merchandise tab there. She's got about everything you could imagine there, all the colors, sizes, kids' shirts, hats, tons of different designs. New Wine Me, Dine Me, 69 Me just came out, kind of a vintage look. We have like a Macho Mania tour that has our race dates and stuff on the back, like a concert, rock and roll concert type T-shirt. So she's always working hard with Neil and everybody at R&R to come up with new stuff, and we appreciate the fans for supporting us with that and buying them either online or at the track.
There you have it, Brady Bacon. Brady is a great guy, man. I traveled with that guy up and down the road with the ASCS National Sprint Car Tour for a long, long time. And he's such a good guy, man.
Yeah, I mean, you won't find a nicer guy than
he
Brady
never
Bacon.
turns down an interview with us, does he?
He's just a great guy. Everybody loves him, and he's got a big week coming up after Belleville, and this weekend he's going to Terre Haute on Tuesday night, where he's the defending champion of probably the biggest race in all of non-wing sprint car racing, the Tony Holman Classic. He's the defending champion of that race. They give you a shotgun as the trophy to win that race.
Right.
So that's coming up on Tuesday night. It's going to be at Circle City.
Should they give you
on
a
Wednesday
shotgun?
and Thursday.
Should they give you a shotgun,
I don't know. I assume they still do that. But Robert Ballou won that a couple of years ago, if you remember. And he had to go out.
Robert Ballou with the shotgun.
When he was working with the promoters of Terre Haute, he's the one that went out and bought the
that's
gun,
right. Yeah, I remember
and
that.
He won it.
And he won it. I remember that now.
He went out and bought the trophy, the gun,
because he knew
because he was working for the promoter.
Yep.
It was his task to go out and get the trophy, the gun.
Right.
And then he goes out and wins the race, and he's got it. So that was 2 years ago. But also coming up here in a couple of weeks, Brady Bacon will be at Knoxville racing the non-wing sprint cars up there for the Corn Belt Clash. He's a two-time winner of that race. And if you remember a year ago, he looked like he had that race won till he had a tire go bad there. And Jake Swanson was able to come through with the win. So he's always good at Knoxville in a non-wing car.
Listen, the Hoosier tire really has some problems going on with it right now.
Yeah.
Didn't we see it down there at Lucas Oil Speedway? Some of the tires were coming apart down there.
Well, Brady Bacon in this interview, I had to cut quite a bit of this interview up, but he talks extensively about tires, and we bring up what would it be like to maybe have another tire manufacturer. He said, I'd love it, but nobody wants to step up. So if you want to hear his comments, David, on that, go to our podcast, episode 312, and he talks just about that exact same thing that Scott's referring to. Yeah.
He said it's just not going to happen.
That's what he said. It
can't
happen.
It's not going to be. He's want to invest that kind of money to come in and build a race tire to compete with Hoosiers. So very interesting comments. We'll hear more of Brady Bacon coming up in hour number 2. I just wanted to mention about Kyle Larson racing at Indianapolis here this weekend. You know who's stepping in the number 5 car at North Wilkesboro today? Filling
How cool is
in for
that?
Kyle Larson? Kevin
Harvick. How cool
coming
is that?
out of the booth, and he's going to be driving the number 5 Hendrick Chevrolet in the qualifying. And they were supposed to qualify yesterday. They got rained out, so he'll be qualifying to run those heat races.
Kevin
later this
Harvick
afternoon.
is the ideal guy to put in that car.
Yeah.
Would you say?
He hasn't been out of the car for so very long. It's only been a few months. He's still been tested.
Right.
He's ideal to be in there. And I'm like you, Kirk. Who are you going to pick to go? Kevin Harvick. Let him be the one.
He can still do it.
He can do
So
it.
it'll be interesting to see how Kevin Harvick does in that car later on today at North Wilkesboro. Had some rain issues at North Wilkesboro. That it looks like things are clearing out, and we'll get that All-Star race that's in. It's going to happen tomorrow nighttime at North Wilkesboro. And who won that race last year? Kyle Larson. They repaved North Wilkesboro.
So
since
Kevin
last
Harvick's got a good chance to win that race.
Well, he's
but
qualified.
Kyle's going to be isn't Kyle supposed to be back in that car
Yeah,
for the
race.
All-Star race
Yeah,
tomorrow
he's
night?
he's
Kevin
gonna be
Harvick's just
qualifying.
filling in, qualifying, testing
Shaking the car down
shaking
for
the
him.
car down. But I think Kyle's still supposed to be at North Wilkesboro tomorrow night to race that car.
He's going to do it all.
So
it's going to be a good weekend of racing. It's going to be fun.
Also, Brady was talking about Kokomo.
Yeah.
A little bit early. We taped that interview the day before they went to Kokomo, and Tyler Courtney won the high limit race at Kokomo the other night. And, who we're going to hear from next, Clinton Boyles was there as the crew chief for Chris Wyndham's number 55 car. So,
And tonight, out at I-70 Speedway, Power Eye is going to be out there tonight.
Power Eye 410 sprints.
410 sprint cars are going to
But
be
Aaron
out there.
Reitzel won't be there. He'll be at Knoxville.
Yeah.
And so will Austin McCarl. So I think Blake Hahn
I don't
might
think
have
those
a pretty
two
good
like
shot.
each other. I don't think those two like each other very much.
They don't.
Mm-mm.
But Blake Hahn, who ran second a lot of that race last night, he'll be at I-70 tonight. What do you think about Blake Hahn's chances out here tonight?
Blake looked pretty good last night.
Yeah.
He kind of faded there a little bit towards the end of the race. He ended up, what did he end up running, fifth, I think it was, last night, Kirk?
Yeah, I think he had the top five. I don't have the results pulled up here right this minute, but
he ended up running fifth.
He was running second quite a bit of that race.
He did. He ran second for a good portion of that race.
Blake Hahn ends up in fifth. You're right. Ahead of him was Reitzel, Austin McCarl, Garrett Williamson, and Chase Randall.
I thought Blake Hahn had a chance to win that race last night. Didn't you? Because he started on the front row. I thought he had a good shot at winning that race last night.
And I'm looking at who's going to be at I-70 tonight. Blake Hahn's got a really good chance of winning out here tonight.
No doubt.
So,
yeah. All right, we're going to take a break. You're listening to Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's Track Talk, and it's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the Power Eye Midwest Lightning Sprints. When we come back, Clinton Boyles joins us next right here on Track Talk.
Hey, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you're listening to Racing Boys, and if you ain't listening to them, you get out of the country because you're a communist. I love the Racing Boys. Like Mater says, they make me happier than a tornado in a trailer park. Get her done!
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply has an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
1 minute, gentlemen. Short break today.
Simulated Climb Trail. I'm attorney Mike DePasquale. When you call my law firm after your car wreck, you're our #1 priority.
After my car wreck, the bills kept piling up and I couldn't catch a break. A good friend told me to call Mike and his team. They dealt with the insurance company so I could focus on getting better. They made me feel like I was their #1 priority.
Call me. I've got this.
Mike's got this. All you need to know, 816-888-750.
30 seconds.
Well, the temperatures are heating up, which means more backyard cookouts on your smoker and grill. The Kansas City Barbecue Store at I-35 and 119th Street in Olathe is your one-stop shop for all you need to get your food from the grill to the table. The barbecue store is stocked with seasoning, sauces, rubs, fuel accessories, and even fresh prime whole briskets. Stop in today to check out the new Gosney Pizza Ovens and ABS Smokers, all locally made. The Kansas City Barbecue Store is open 7 days a week at I-35 and 119th Street, right across the lot from Joe's KC in Olathe.
Welcome back to Track Talk here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Don't forget hour number 2 exclusively on our Facebook page and YouTube page as well. And you can watch it on our website as well, racingboys.com. So we had a chance to talk to Clinton Boyles, Kurt.
Clinton Boyles is one of our own. He's from the Kansas City area. Of course, the Boyles name, very big in the Kansas City area.
And he worked for us during the Chili Bowl, didn't he?
Yeah, and he still does the main commentary for the shootout for Flow Racing at Tulsa, as well as the Chili Bowl.
He does a
very good job.
He does an excellent job as a commentary, as an analyst. I think he does a great job.
And he's a pretty darn good race car driver, although his race car driving is not a lot right now because he's one of the top crew chiefs in all of sprint car racing. He wrenches the number 55 Vermeer car for Chris Wyndham out on the High Limit Racing Series.
The 55 car.
The 55 car. And Monday on Mostly Motorsports, we had a visit with Clinton Boyles prior to the Kokomo race. They've been run a lot better in that 55 car lately, and here's Clinton Boyles from Monday's Mostly Motorsports show.
What's it like crewing for Chris Wyndham as a crew chief? What's it like, the experience been?
It's cool. I feel like I've definitely, been with some different characters. Obviously I started with Hunter, being my brother-in-law, and then, I had a little bit of Buddy Kofoid and Kerry Madsen for most of last year, who, everyone kind of knows Kerry's the madman, right? And so Chris is probably the opposite of Kerry. Just super calm all the time, pretty quiet. Our conversations are, I wouldn't say short's not the right word, but just not, not a ton of extra. He tells me, what he feels out of the race car, what he wants to feel, or we could do better for him. And that's the extent of it. He just kind of trusts me to do my job. And, not that any of those other guys didn't, just, some guys like Hunter and Kerry are more in tune with doing some setup stuff themselves. So, they want to kind of know what's going on or discuss it. And Chris, he just doesn't care. He wants to get in and drive the car. And so, we've worked pretty hard the last couple of weeks, especially to try to change some stuff on the race cars and get them a little closer to, I think, where we need to be to compete. And after all the changes we had a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was a week and a half ago, we had 2 top 10s last weekend with High Limit. So that was good. Found some consistency throughout the whole night instead of just having speed early or late or, either one, but not both. So, I think we're going in the right direction, but Chris is really cool to work with. He's super chill, laid back, patient with me. We kind of know it's a new team. He's still fairly inexperienced in the wing stuff. So just taking it one night at a time and trying to put our best foot forward every night.
Let me ask you about when the decision to come down and stay with the 55 car. Was that a difficult decision for you?
It was, yes. That day was probably one of the most conflicting, just confusing days of, my whole life. I left driving to go work with Hunter and the 55 team, and it was honestly solely for Hunter. I didn't really know Tony Vermeer at the time. I'd met him, but, I knew Hunter needed a guy, and I wanted to be that guy for Hunter. So when the time came where him and Tony were splitting ways and it was up to me to stay or go, I really had about a 15-minute decision from the time I had heard them, possibly splitting up, and I got the phone call that was, are you in or are you out, And I honestly, Scott, I didn't know what to do. I on one hand had my family, it was kind of, left in a spot where just a lot of uncertainty for them on what was going to be next. And then myself, was kind of in that same situation of like, well, if I say no, I don't have a job. Can I find another job? It wasn't really like, I would say, a sought after crew chief at that point. So I like the fears of being able to find another job or what I would end up doing. If I stayed, the questions of who will the driver be? How will this look to my family? How will they take it? So that was a really, really hard day. I feel like I probably had enough time to think about some of those decisions or just have some of those conversations the right way that needed to be done, involving my family. But ultimately, I think now the decision to stay probably was the right one for myself. I wish I maybe could have handled it in a little better way with Hunter and my sister especially, just how it played out. But I think, almost a year now down the road, I think we can all say, maybe whatever happens, happens for a reason, certainly. And it played out in everyone's favor. I think Hunter's in a really good spot, kind of found some new drive and motivation. And he's been up on the wheel like crazy lately, and it's good to see that. And I think, I've kind of found my own role as a crew chief and kind of, solely running the team. on my own. So it's been good, but that day was certainly really, really difficult for myself.
Well, he's family, so I mean that adds a lot to it, and just the whole dynamic of all that. But you had to be thrilled the way Hunter ran the other. When he started on the front row and ended up sixth, he had a good night the other night at Tri-City.
Yeah, he was a top 3 car for sure. He started on the front row and I think ran second for the majority of the race, and then I think he had a lap car kind of half spin in front of him there late, and he lost a couple spots the last 5 laps or so. But yeah, he was really good. Had a really good run going over at Terre Haute in a different car, not in the Heidrider car, and he was running really good. And they actually had the wing pop off the thing, and so he obviously had to pull in. But he's been really fast, which is cool to see. I never doubted his ability behind the wheel. Just, and sometimes maybe him being with me just wasn't where he needed to be, even if we thought that was the right thing at the time. Being family, it was, a lot of tough times where he probably wanted to come in and tell me, well, this race car is shit, and you're not focused like I want you to be.
Right.
And we need to, we just need to be better, but it's hard to say that to family. And there's times where I'm like, well, you screwed up here on the racetrack, and you got to make a better decision here. And it's tough to do that on my end also. So yeah, I think, we grew a lot together, certainly. I think he learned a lot from me, and I learned probably way more than that from him. And it's, I think both of us have kind of blossomed from there into our own separate roles, and it's been good. I love watching him race, and I know, up here tonight in the Hayward 19, he'll be really fast in Kokomo again.
As you pointed out, a couple of top 10 finishes this past weekend with the High Limit Series, the way things had started. You got to feel excited. I know you want to win races, but getting a 9th place finish at 34 after starting 15th and 17th to 10th on Saturday night, you got to be really encouraged. What's been the key to get this thing going here?
Man, I honestly think just, me getting Chris more comfortable in the car. We had been gone on the road for 6 weeks, and that was, grueling to say the least. And we got home, and I had 4 days and just kind of took some time to go through shocks and change some stuff up with Matt Hummel at FK Indy. Him and I went to work and changed a couple of things, and then I changed some stuff on the race car itself. And, really just had some time to think and process, okay, what can I do here to help Chris out? So,
right.
Just get him a little more comfortable to where we can qualify a little better, which, this past weekend we were the last car out in qualifying at 34. And I felt like we had a decent run, certainly faster than the guys that went out around us. And then at Tri-City, we didn't qualify at all. We were actually changing an engine and missed qualifying. So to rally, late and be able to pass cars is always good. That's tough to do in wing racing. That's probably, what everyone hates about it is it's hard to pass cars. So
right.
For us to be able to do that was really good. I could see, even in those 2 races, I saw more progress, I think, out of Chris behind the wheel than I probably had the 5 or 6 races prior to that over the 3 or 4 weekends. So that was good. We're finally getting to go to some familiar tracks to Chris too, which is good, and myself as well. So just stuff like that will be important to, progressing and getting better and better.
Clint Boyles joining us on Mostly Motorsports. You can hear every Monday earlier in the week. And, they've been doing a lot better in that 55 car with Chris Windom behind the wheel. So now the High Limit Series is off this weekend, right, Scott? They raced Thursday night, last night. That's it. They're not racing tonight. So I think they kick it back up next weekend.
They're not racing tonight.
No. So, hey, before we after we left the air last Saturday, we heard the sad news of Greg Clemens passing away. Sudden passing of Greg Clemens. Yeah, and Scott, there's been no more unique and big promoter of racing in the Kansas City area and a multi-talented guy than Greg Clemens was to racing. There'll be another person in our racing experience like Greg Clemens.
Right.
2 minutes to outro, gentlemen.
There's no doubt about that, Kirk. And I'm going to say that he was a big part of Electric City Speedway down there as well.
Yeah.
They have a GoFundMe page, and if you go to Electric City's Facebook page, they've shared it on their page. We're looking at a little bit right here. So
they got a GoFundMe page,
yeah,
don't they?
And Electric City has shared that. So if you're if an easy way to do it, go to their Facebook page and click on it right there.
He was a multifaceted guy. He painted lettered cars. He promoted races. He announced races. He did just about everything in the sport.
It's sad. It's so sad that we're losing so many of these people that are such. Bob Reber, Lloyd Collins, Greg Clemens. We've lost a lot here recently.
And by the way, speaking of Bob Reber, what a big turnout they had for his visitation the other night over here in Liberty. Huge turnout for Bob Reber, who we lost here a couple of weeks ago. We're too many of these people that we've come to know and love. They're passing away all too frequently here.
All right, in hour number 2, we're going to have Jack Wagner, Chase Rodman, and Brady Bacon, a second part of that interview with Brady Bacon coming up. And, Kirk, you need to do that.
The Hall of Fame at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame is 2 weeks. They're going to be inducting the 2024 class that same weekend. We're going to see non-wing sprint cars up there. Of course, we've got the Corvette giveaway, as well as the sprint car giveaway up there. They've got the ground broken for the new Dennis Hallbaugh Suite Tower that'll be on the east side of the main building. On the other side is the Brian Clausen Suite Tower. So a lot of exciting things are going on at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. They got the Eldora Speedway Salute as well. So check it out. If you're up at Knoxville over the next few weeks, make sure you get into the Hall of Fame. A lot of great things going on.
A lot of things going on up there at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us here on Track Talk. It's all brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. And we can't thank them enough for supporting the Racing Boys all these years. They've been helping us out for years, haven't they, Kirk?
Rod End Supply, local Kansas City business. They and Bob Douglas been with us from day one. That's going back to 2002.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk. We'll see you next week right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll see you next week.
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial
man.
applications with many different types of products since 1980.
Always a pleasure. We will see you next week.
Great show. Appreciate it. Everything's good.
Strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Hey, it's Todd Lebo here for CertaPro Painters. You know, your home should be a place you're proud to drive up to. If it's been a while since you've gotten an exterior paint
Rod End Supply is involved with a variety of motorsports as well as industrial applications with many different types of products. Since 1989, Rod End Supply has provided superior products priced competitively. Whether you're racing at the circle track or drag strip, rock climbing, or going off-road, Rod End Supply is an assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products to keep your equipment moving. Rod End Supply's experienced staff is ready and willing to help you with your needs. Their promise is to continue to provide a superior product with superior service so you can stay in front of the field no matter what it is. To learn more, go to rodendsupply.com.
Spirit Specialty Sportswear in-house. We do all of the screen printing, all the embroidery. We do some vinyl. The other ad specialty items like your pens, magnets, notepads, calendars. You can actually buy that, build your business to make it larger. We have the largest screen printing process and the largest embroidery anywhere around in the area. We can do stuff all the way from your school clubs to sports teams, a professional look in the office. If you can imagine it, we can do it for you.
From the circle track to the drag strip to off-road racing, Rod End Supply has been keeping their customers at the front of the field since 1989. Whether you need rod ends, tubular rods, or specialty products, Bob Douglas and his Rod End Supply staff are always ready to help you with your needs. You can visit them on the web at rodendsupply.com or call them at 800-284-2902. That's 800-284-2902. Rod End Supply, keeping you at the front of the field.
When Steve died, the outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Signs attract half of all new customers. A vehicle wrap can get 30,000 views per day. On-site signage costs roughly 2 cents per view. At Impact Signs, Awnings, Wraps, we know signs work. Custom signs, interior or exterior, for any application. Commercial awnings, any shape, any size. Full-color video displays, time and temp boards, gas price changers, and scoreboards. We can wrap anything, vehicles, trailers, boats, and more. Check us out at impact4800.com.
Race fans, the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, year-round, for you to come in and check out all of the wonderful race cars on display in the museum. And our online store at sprintcarstuff.com is open 24 hours a day for you to check out everything that we have in stock for sprint car fans. Whether it's for a birthday, anniversary, or Christmas, sprintcarstuff.com has it all. That's at the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum in Knoxville.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.
Hey everybody, this is Larry the Cable Guy, and you are listening to RacingBoys.com, and if you're not, I swear to you, get in your truck or do something, but get the hell out of this country, because you don't belong in it if you don't listen to these fellas. Get her done!
It's time for America's most unique motorsports show, Track Talk, brought to you by Rod End Supply and the Power Ride Midwest Lightning Sprints. Here are the racing boys, Scott Traylor and Kirk Elliott.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. Todd Surprise running the show as he does each and every week for us here. And Kirk Elliott, my partner. Kirk, man, we have got a lot going on with. We've got Jack Wagner.
It's a great I told Kirk yesterday, guys, this Jack Wagner interview possibly could be our best interview we've done.
Why you say that, Todd?
There was not one question that was a short answer. There was not one answer that went so long. The enthusiasm that this guy had from the start to finish, the information that he brought.
Right.
I'm just telling you, when I listen to, I don't usually go back and listen.
And this is about a 10-minute interview.
Out of a 20-minute interview we did with him.
Right.
We had him on. So if you like to hear the whole, full, engaging interview, go back to our podcast. But I told Kirk after I listened.
What episode is that?
312.
312.
And I told Kirk, I'm just going to say it. Jack Wagner may not be like the biggest name, like the Sammy Swindells that we've had or the Donnie Schatz on the show or whatever.
But he's an excellent interview.
This interview quite possibly was the most entertaining and able to, I don't know, he would be perfect for anybody's podcast. I'm just going to say that. He's a great guest. And
maybe we'll get him to sit in with us on the studio
Him
one
and his
day.
brother would be a great pair to have on the phone.
Samuel Wagner.
Samuel.
Because
Samuel has not won a war race or a NWRA race.
But he says he's
Did you know
close.
that, Kirk?
And he's almost won.
Yeah,
that race at I-70 here a few weeks back.
Listen,
he led a lot of laps.
He should have
in that
won that race there at I-70 Speedway. He was ripping the top like no other guy. Samuel was.
But you and I, this is a rare occurrence. You and I sit together to watch races at a racetrack. How often does that happen? Not very often.
Not
Last
much.
Saturday night at Valley
pretty rare.
Speedway, you and I sat together and watched Jack Wagner win an exciting MWRA race at Valley Speedway.
Oh yeah, it was a good
How about that battle for second behind Jack Wagner? There was a scramble for second place, and you had 4 wide. I think they might even try to go 5 wide. That was a hell of a race. Jack Wagner was able to get out in front and win that event. And then the following night at Double X Speedway, they put the wing on the car, and he goes out. I'm sure that's a different car than the one he races in non-wing, but had the 360 wing car working at Double X Speedway on the season opener down there and won that night.
Right, yeah, no doubt.
So pretty good racing going on there with the MWRA Sprints. I guess last night down at Electric City Speedway and near Butler, Missouri, Wesley Smith survived and hung on. Had some tire issues down there, it sounded like, from email that I got from John Lee this morning. He was down there shooting pictures last night. But Wesley Smith, who won at I-70 a couple of weeks ago, wins last night at Electric City Speedway. They're going to race down there again tonight.
Hey, Kirk, the former Texas Motor Speedway president, Eddie Gossage, passed away at 65.
Yeah, shocking news that came out Thursday. 65 years old. Eddie had
Kirk,
he had retired 3 years ago from Texas Motor Speedway.
I don't know if you know this, but we're in the last stage of our life. Did you know that?
Somebody said that.
We're
I don't like hearing it.
We're in the final. We're in the final stages of our life right now.
I heard a comedian say when they say that the big joke is, when you hit middle age, and people do middle age is around 40, really, not 60 or 50. It's around 40 or 35 because men live to be about 65 to 75 years old, right?
Listen, me personally, my dad lived till he was 80 years old. My mom lived till she was 71. And I hope that I can get into that range between 71 and 80.
I'd like to be healthy in my 70s and 80s, and then we'll go from there. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just happy to be alive today.
Yeah, knocking on wood, woke up on this side of the...
Whatever, Kirk.
I take it a day at a time.
Day at a time.
Eddie Gossage, this was shocking to hear this, and it didn't really list how he passed away. He's 65 years old. As I mentioned, 3 years ago, he retired as the promoter at Texas Motor Speedway, where he was 25 years. Before that, he worked under Bruton Smith and Humpy Wheeler down at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He was a great promoter, great personality. I remember his last event 3 years ago, the All-Star race down there in June that Kyle Larson won. That was his last event, and seemed to be a healthy guy. Just, very shocking news to hear the passing of Eddie Gossage a couple of days ago.
Yeah. And we also want to give a shout out to Brad Keselowski. he picked up his first NASCAR win last week, didn't he?
Yeah, that was interesting race right there. Looked like Chris Buescher had a chance to win again. Remember, he got beaten the photo finish at Kansas Speedway to Kyle Larson, and this time he got taken out by Tyler Reddick, and Tyler apologized, said, "Yeah, that's all on me." They were having it out there on pit road, and Reddick was saying, "Yeah, I screwed up.
I screwed up. I didn't mean to put you in the wall."
It was only one way conversation. The other guy was saying, "I'm sorry. But how frustrating, like you said.
Hey, listen,
2 weeks in a row.
When do you think Ty Gibbs is going to win his first race?
Soon.
It'll be soon.
I think it's going to be pretty soon.
Second at Darlington.
Yeah.
I think we get in the hot months of summer.
Josh Berry's doing a pretty good job in the 4-car as well, isn't he?
Had a good talk with – what a nice guy he is. Had an interview with him out of Kansas Speedway a couple of weeks ago, driving the Kevin – what the car formerly driven by Kevin Harvick with Rodney Childers as the crew chief. Josh Berry especially good on the short tracks, and it'll be interesting to see how he does trying to get qualified for the All-Star race this weekend, coming out of that Open. I think he might be pretty good at North Wilkesboro.
Yeah,
he's good at Martinsville and some other places, short tracks especially for Josh Berry. So it'll be interesting to see how he does in these open races.
Kevin Harvick was always good on the short tracks as well, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, well, he was good everywhere.
Yeah, he was good
And
everywhere.
he's going to be back in trying to qualify
so he'll
that
be driving
car.
that 5-car today for, helping out Kyle Larson, who is at Indianapolis trying to get qualified for the Indianapolis 500, so it's going to be a big day watching all this stuff go down. I just want to mention Dirt Late Model big event at Lucas Oil Speedway next weekend. It's the Show Me 100 next weekend. Cowboy Classic on Thursday night. Salute to Don and Billy Gibson on Friday night. Lucas Oil Late Model Series. Ricky Thornton Jr. looked like he had that race won a year ago until he failed the droop test in post-race tech, handing the win to Devin Moran, who's coming off a win in the Lucas Oil Late Model Series last weekend. So Devin Moran coming in on a high, and Ricky Thornton Jr., I see he won last night the C.J. Rayburn Classic at Circle City Raceway in Indianapolis last night. World of Outlaw late models got rained out last night, but Thursday night at Raceway 7, Chris Madden comes through with a win. These guys are out in the Pennsylvania area right now. And the Lucas Oil Late Model Series getting geared up for Lucas Oil Speedway. That place will be packed.
Did you mention that
tonight.
MLRA got rained out at Benton Speedway in Farmington?
Man, they just been hit with a ton of rainouts here lately.
They have.
And the whole weekend got wiped out again. They were supposed to be at Benton Speedway and Farmington this weekend, and both of those events have been wiped out. Now, they're part of the events at Lucas Oil Speedway this next weekend, so MLRA will be there. And
are you going to go down to the Show Me 100?
Yeah, I'm going to try to get down there for the Thursday night Cowboy Classic. I got some family events that I want to try to attend on Saturday, so I'm not quite sure about the big event on Saturday, but I'll for sure be down there on Thursday for the Cowboy Classic.
I've tried to find out if my RV spot is available down there, and I would like to go down there each and every day, to be honest with you, if I have an RV spot down there.
Well, I'm sure they got places to park it. There's plenty of room down there to park, and I don't know if everything's been sold out or taken up down there at Lucas Oil Speedway, but I'm sure Danny Lorton would have that answer for you.
Yep.
He is the main man at Lucas Oil Speedway.
He is the main guy down there.
But that's always a packed event, especially on Saturday night. It's one of the premier dirt late model events of the whole year, and so looking forward to that event.
You want to set up this Jack Wagner interview?
Jack Wagner. He is a winner this past weekend at Valley Speedway and Double X Speedway. We spoke with him on Monday's Mostly Motorsports show and made the Hockett family very proud this past weekend. He was pretty excited to talk about it, and here is the portion of that interview from last Monday's Mostly Motorsports.
had a heck of a weekend, didn't you, bud?
Can't do nothing better than win on Mother's Day weekend for the family, you know?
Right, yeah. So let's go back to Saturday night, and when you won there, you beat Corey Schutte, and you beat Wyatt Burks, and Samuel did a really good job as well. I'm looking at your performance the other night, and you dominated that race, didn't you?
Well, early on, he had that Mr. Kobe Simpson running out with it for a while, and my brother. I saw in the first lap and a half, he jumped from fourth to second, and sitting back there in fifth position, I thought, man, he's got a real good shot to win this thing. I better get up there before he gets away from me.
Right.
So it took a little while to track him down. Once we did, brotherly love, I did give him a small tap unintentionally, but it did happen. Was able to get around him and Simpson in a corner and a half, and was able to get away, but man, once I got out of the race car, everybody was looking at my little brother saying, good Lord, you had probably the race of the year so far between him, Simpson, Schutte, Burks, all of them at least. And I went back and filmed that very same night and looked at it. All of them bounced off each other at least 4 or 5 different times. One heck of a race, and I'm glad they did because it allowed me to run away and hide there for a little while. That I will say that green-white checkered there at the very end got me a little bit nervous, but we were able to skate out of there, and with a win, finally, it's been a while since I've got a non-wing win underneath my belt, and after 3 second places in a row between the POWRi War Sprints and the Midwest Racing Association, to knock one down finally was a huge weight off the chest, and hopefully we'll be continuing this going with the non-wings throughout the rest of the year.
I've got to tell you, when Samuel was leading out there at I-70 Speedway, he was ripping the top like no other person. And I'm telling you, I was pulling for him because he hasn't got a WAR win or an NWRA win yet, and I was really pulling for him on that race.
Man, trust me and you both. I was in the infield sitting at turn one and just going crazy, trying to give him any kind of hand signal I can give him, trying to keep his confidence boosted up. He had a few yellows there. We had to make a few decisions on the choose cone and figure out where he needed to get a good launch to get away from those guys, and boy did he. He ripped the top like probably I'd do the exact same thing if I was out there, but if there was a race I was going to be having to sit out to watch my little brother, I'm very happy it was that one. He made me extremely proud that night, and I think he finally put his name on the map as a top contender for this year in the non-wing class.
Hey, what did you think of the track prep out there at I-70 Speedway? I thought that Casey Schumann did a hell of a job getting that track a little wide. What did you think about that?
I'll tell you what, I need to have Casey Schumann's number and figure out if he can follow me and my little brother everywhere we go. I love his racetracks. Every time we've been to I-70, they've been amazing. And it makes me upset a little bit that the non-wings aren't there more often because, man, we put on a really good show there, and just the amount of people that come out to support that race is awesome, and I hope it continues to grow because, man, it is a really good show to start off the year.
You know what that remind me of, Jack, is the way they prep Port Royal Speedway out in Pennsylvania? They pack it hard, slick it, get some slide jobs. As big a track as that is at I-70, if they prep that thing the same way out here, they've got something.
I fully believe that. They can make a top, they can make a bottom, a really wide slide job range to where people can correct, get out of it, and continue racing on and make it a lot of fun for the fans, man. I can't wait to have more races at I-70.
Last night you won down there at Double X Speedway, and Tyler Blank is not an easy person to outrun, is he?
There ain't nobody down there at California that's easy to run, let me tell you. I've got a beat on a lot of guys that are saying they're going to be coming down there this year, and they're all hard hitters. Tyler's been one that's been a really good one for years and years, and so has been Taylor Walton. Me and my brother are finally starting to creep up there and knock down some wins, and you know what? After he threw, we had a early race caution, and I switched the lineup a little bit, and he threw a dive bomb on me going into 3. Me and him got a little bit collected there in the center of the corner, but it made Mr. Josh Fisher come up off the bottom. Tyler was on the top side. I was able to split the difference. I didn't think it would work. Honestly, gut instinct, it just happened. And we were able to pull out of it. And I haven't watched film yet. I've been at work most of the day, so once I get home, I'm going to be looking at film and studying and see, man, is that possible to replicate again and what was the gap? Because I know those boys, after that happened, they were probably hungry to get back to my rear bumper and to see if they could do something about it. But we were able to squeak out a win and a Mother's Day weekend win there at Double X Speedway. You can't beat that. Got to love it for Mom. Got to love it for Connie. And to keep the 77 in victory lane there is a true honor, and I'm very proud to be carrying on that name and that legacy.
Friday night at Lakeside Speedway, that lap car got you there, didn't he?
I don't think it was lap car that got me. My decision making is what got me there. I don't ever try to blame anything on a lap traffic because it's our decisions as the leaders to get around them in the fastest way possible to get away to keep our lead. Well, I got a little bit more work to do as far as my decision making in traffic, and I know it. And it sucks because I love Lakeside Speedway a lot. Me and him have had a lot of history together. I've had 2 or 3 hard charges from starting 17th or back and better and getting on the podium. To start up front, I was like, man, we got a shot to get this finally. It's going to happen again. So I got a little bit more work to do on myself to be able to get back in victory lane there, but I promise it's going to happen. I don't know if it's going to be this year because my brother's right there too. I don't know what it is about us in non-wing racing, man, but for some reason we're big track guys, and I kind of like it.
What do you say you got to work on yourself? What department do you need to work on a little bit more?
Oh, decision making, maturity, and knowing when I need to go, when I need to pull a punch, and when I need to send one. It's a lot of these guys are smart around here. You got your Shooties, your Wesley Smiths, your Wyatt Burks, your Xavier Donis, Samuel Wagner. I mean, these boys, they don't pull their punches. And you got to be smart, and you got to figure out when they're going to pull theirs and when you got to pull yours to make sure that it's, a good show, everybody comes out clean and can still give a handshake and a smile at the end of the day, and when are you going to go for a win? And I tried going for a win there. I think I was in the right spot, but Mr. Xavier got around me, and he was a better man that night. So we're going to continue to go back to the drawing board and figure out new ways to be faster, new ways to get around lap traffic once we get to it, and improve. That's the name of the game. We're all still young. We're all still growing, and it doesn't matter what night, where at. We're going to keep continuing to do better and hopefully knock some more wins down in the non-wing series this year as well as the wings.
Can you describe the feeling when you pull into Victory Circle and are able to deliver a victory for the Hockett's, Jack and Connie?
It is so overwhelming, man. There's no – when you get to pull into victory lane and that yellow 77 carrying that name, you feel like you are continuing on what Jesse did, and we're trying to do it in the mannerisms that he did it too. He's a wonderful person. I've been told by so many people. I never got the opportunity to meet him, but we try our hardest to always put it on a show for the fans, always be able to be up front and contend. That's the always biggest thing that he wanted to do is contend for wins wherever he went. And for Jack and Connie Hockett, I always wanted to be that for them. They've been a true grace to me in my career. They've been amazing people to me and my family, as well as their entire family. Between Jack's sister, Kathy, and her entire kids and family, they've had us over for dinners and Thanksgivings and Christmases, and it's almost not even Hockett's and Wagner's. We're all one now.
Right.
And I'm truly, truly blessed to be in the spot I am.
I don't know if you know this, but Jesse Hockett, the night before his passing, he was in the studio with us, Kirk and I, and we did an ASCS show back in the day, and he would drive all the way from Warrensburg and drive up there and do the show with us, and he did it probably about 5 out of the 7 weeks that we did. Isn't that right, Kirk?
Yeah, and I got to tell you, Jack, he would be so proud of the way you do it out there, the Victory Lane celebrations.
He'd be more proud of
Yes,
you
he
than
would.
anything you could imagine. He would be so proud of you.
Thank you, guys. Seriously, that I mean that from the bottom of my heart. That puts a very big smile on my face and gets me more motivated to go out there and do it all again.
Yeah. So what's next? What's next on the schedule for you?
Oh, next on the schedule, we're heading out to I-70 again, but this time we're going to put the wings on it. Kenny Brown and the Power Eye 410 Outlaw Series are putting on a show out there, so we're going to go and try to contend. We got 2 new cars coming out this weekend, a little bit of throwback stuff to Mr. Hockett between me and my brother, so hope everybody comes out and enjoys that weekend. And then that'll be on Saturday night and Sunday. Guess what? We're back at Double XP. We're going to try and do it all over again. See if I can get my brother up to speed a little bit, come up there and contend with a win with me too, and you never know, man. He's stout in the non-wing, but dude, when he's got the confidence to go out there and run like a scalded dog in the wings down there, if he's a contender, he's going to be a tough one to beat. So you can bet your butt you're going to be seeing number 77 and 73 battle it out all over the place this year, whether it's wing or non-wing, and it's going to be a real fun season, I promise you.
There you have it. Jack Wagner joining us here on Mostly Motorsports. You can listen to Mostly Motorsports on Mondays from noon to 2 o'clock. Every Monday from noon to 2 o'clock.
Hey, I want to mention there's a big race at Central Missouri Speedway tonight down in Warrensburg. The SLMR, this is a Malvern Bank Late Model Series. Joe Kosiski's series going to be at Warrensburg tonight, Central Missouri Speedway, for a big $5,000 to win event, the Cliff Harris Memorial Race. Get down there for that. Also, they're paying off good money in the Superstock feature tonight, $1,000 to win. They got B-Mods in action down there tonight. I was down there for the SLMR Malvern Bank late model event a year ago. Pretty good action there. You don't see late models very often at Central Missouri Speedway, so get down there and check that out tonight.
Marie said my dad was 90 and my mom was 83. Man, wouldn't it be good to live that long?
My grandma and grandpa were both. My grandma was 98. My grandpa was 96 when they passed away. So
wow, that's living a full life.
Unfortunately,
that's a full life, man.
When you live that long, unfortunately, they had to bury two of their daughters. Both my mom and my mom's sister both passed away.
You never want to do that.
No, but when you live to be 95 years old, you're bound to live through some events that you probably didn't think you were going to live through, right?
Hey, Jeff Nunn said better than watching cartoons on Saturday morning.
How about that?
Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've been watching cartoons lately, guys. Have you?
Oh, Jeff Nunn. I've known Jeff a long, long time, bud.
I've been watching a little Cartoon Network in the last few days.
Remember Jeff Nunn?
I do remember Jeff Nunn. He's a big part of Racing Boys. We got his website here going, racingboys.com. Thanks to Jeff.
He was the original designer of the racingboys.com, wasn't he?
Jade, he's got a great team there. Been with the USMTS for. By the way, the USMTS got rained out again this weekend.
Holy cow!
Did you see that photo?
How many rainouts can they withstand at the USMTS? My God, I feel for Trenton and Stick and
at
everybody
RPM
over
Speedway.
There, a lot of these big events are getting wiped out.
That was at RPM Speedway, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were supposed to be at RPM this weekend.
Did you see the photo?
No go.
Scott.
I love that photo with the guy screaming at the rain, right?
How appropriate, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally
that's great.
Yeah, and I feel bad. We understand it's tough, but man, what a bad roll of the dice so far for these guys on this weather situation.
Houston Speedway was rained out for their season opener last Sunday night. They're going to try to go it again tomorrow night. Season opener, Houston Speedway, so we'll look forward to that. We have Chase Rodman and Connor Wade on our show every week. Connor Wade is the pit reporter for Dirt Vision's coverage of the World of Outlaws, and Chase Rodman in the booth calling the action for the High Limit Racing Series. And which one of these guys we're going with first here? We're going with Chase Rodman?
Yeah.
He's had a busy week. They had the race at Kokomo on Tuesday night.
We don't have Connor Wade this week.
We didn't have Connor this week.
Yeah, he was off last.
Right.
All right. So Tuesday night at Kokomo, Tyler Courtney won. Thursday night, Brad Sweet wins at Outlaws Speedway. And then last night, they had the race at Utica Rome Speedway where Rico Abreu won. This is before all these events. Chase Rodman wrapping up last weekend's events, and here's just a portion of our weekly wrap-up with Chase Rodman on Monday's Mostly Motorsports Show.
Are a lot of the guys a little concerned about Brad Sweet? He just won 3 in a row. He's won 5 this season. Are people starting to shake a little bit in their boots a little bit?
I would say yes. I don't know about here at this track, to be honest. I just think there's so many, unknown factors when it comes to a track like this. that I feel like it's wide open. I don't think you can go in and think that Brad Sweet's the favorite, really. But at a track like, the last couple places we've been to, those 3/8 and, those tracks, that the bigger or even the smaller 3/8, I mean, those are the bread and butter for Brad Sweet, So, and he's already won a couple on those types of tracks. These quarter miles so far this year, he hasn't been stellar. I mean, he's still been in the top 10 and, in the top 5, hasn't been competing for wins on the quarter miles. So tonight I would think that, maybe I don't think he's the favorite at all, to be honest with you. But, coming up this week in New York and whatnot, maybe we'll see because we get back to some, little bit bigger racetracks. So when it comes to the bigger stuff, I think everybody's a little bit worried about Brad Sweet for sure.
Brent Marks, he picked up the win at Tri-City Speedway. That track was a little rugged, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think I might have mentioned on the broadcast, maybe I didn't, but there was no possible way to run the same lap. You couldn't run 2 laps, smooth at that place together. I mean, you're running a different line or you're hitting a different rut or whatever every single lap around it, and the drivers were probably racing the track as much as they were racing each other. And it's fun to watch sometimes when that happens. You got to be careful. You could tell, like it was interesting. You could tell, especially in the heats, that those guys going into turn 3, they were having to really get off the gas and blow the cars down and make sure, they entered the corner straight. They didn't enter the corner sideways and get into that, that little wavy section there to upset the car.
Right.
It was fun to watch those guys try and muscle these things around a technical racetrack like that.
I'm running out of fingers on one hand to talk about all the photo finishes we've seen over the last couple of weekends, but you had one up at 34 Raceway on Friday night between Brad Sweet and James McFadden. That was a heck of a finish.
Yeah, great finish, and I think, they were kind of getting some flack for the middle stages of that race. Everybody was kind of putting around the bottom, but in my opinion, I just feel like everybody was a little bit, I don't know if scared is the right word. They were a little bit, weary to go up to the top of the racetrack because I thought that it had plenty of speed to go up there and get around the track. It just took, them getting the traffic for somebody to try it out. I think that somebody went up there right at the beginning. They could have contended for the win. It's just nobody really wanted to go up there. It was right on the fence, a little bit, a little bit sketchy up there for sure. But yeah, it ended up being a really good finish, and that's what everybody remembers. 12 1,000ths of a second. It was back-to-back races. We had the widest margin of victory in high limit history and the closest margin of victory in high limit history, and back-to-back races at Lakeside and at 34. So
right.
It's been a pretty crazy couple of weeks here on the high limit tour. And then we also had that Durst dice roll get claimed. A fan left with $2,500 the other night when Brent Marks won.
Brent Marks picked up the victory at
Tri-City.
Tri-City, and let me say this. I think that Brent Marks is going to be in contention for that championship. Right now, Tyler Courtney is back 45 points, and Brent Marks is back 65 points. I think he's got to be in the mix, doesn't he?
I mean, certainly. Yeah, him and Brad are the only 2 guys right now that have been in the top 10 for every single race. Tonight is definitely going to be a question mark for Brent Marks. We know him for being good on half miles and big 3/8 miles. We don't particularly know him being good on tracks like Kokomo. He's never been here before, so tonight could be an interesting one for Brent Marks to see if he keeps that top 10 streak alive. Yeah, I mean, he's super, super consistent. He's just got to start beating Brad every night to be able to contend for this championship. That's what David Gravel's been having to deal with the last 5 years on the Outlaw Tour. David Gravel runs, he'll run 4th every night, but Brad Sweet's running 2nd or he's running 3rd, So
right.
That's the tough part about beating that guy, man. He doesn't have any off nights. They never have any mechanical failures or anything like that. So if Brent's going to contend, he's got to make sure to keep the 49 behind him as much as possible, especially being 65 points back already.
You're heading out to New York, Outlaw Speedway, Utica, Rome, and then to Port Royal after that. So you're headed east.
Yep, looking forward to going to New York. I haven't been to those 2 racetracks, and I just keep hearing good things about both of them. So curious to see how that goes. Obviously, I think sometimes the New York local guys kind of get overlooked a little bit, So we'll see how they do. We're going to have a pretty good car count. I saw the list, and we're going to have over 30 cars in New York, which doesn't get to happen too often. We'll have some PA guys come up. I know Dietrich's coming, Macri's coming. So going to be a couple good fields there. And then obviously, like you said, Port Royal the week after that. And 75,000 to win to be the biggest paying sprint car race so far in 2024. Going to be fun to watch the Bob Weicker Memorial. Looking forward to it.
Anytime you go to PA, you got to take those drivers serious out there, don't you?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about that. They have been struggling here a little bit. Obviously, I think that I think Dietrich and Raymer they have the speed to contend in the features. The problem is with those guys is they can't get qualified in, and they have to come from behind. We saw it at Lincoln the other night with the Outlaws. Dietrich came from the B main. He was the last car through the B, and then came up into the top 10. Raymer's usually pretty good. Struggled the other night, but their guy right now, the main guy they have is Anthony Macri, and he will certainly. He probably, if you look at the odds, he's probably the favorite going into Port Royal, and then you can never count out Lance Deweese as well. Finally got a win in that new car with Barry Shearer, so we'll see if maybe that can spark some momentum, and maybe he'll contend for a top 5 or a win over there.
Hey, listen, Chase, you've been doing a great job announcing those races. Let me just say it. You're doing a fantastic job, just so you know.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. We're still trying to get into the groove of things, and it's going to take a little while. We're still working the bugs out and the kinks out and things like that. But it's been a decent start, I think, and I appreciate you guys saying that. So we'll try and have another good one tonight with Dylan Welch up there with me.
Oh, that is great. He's up there for all the midweek shows, right?
Yep, he will be up there for all the midweek shows, and then depending on what his schedule looks like, maybe for some of the higher paying ones as well. So he's been fun to work with, man. He's definitely a professional, that's for sure. IndyCar and NASCAR, and he always loves to come back here to these dirt races. And Kokomo Speedway, one of his probably his home track. He's also the track record holder here in a midget, so he's got a little bit of experience he can share with us on the broadcast tonight.
He knows what he's talking about. Then Tony Laporta does a great job in the pits too. So you guys are doing a great job.
Yeah, he's really personable with the drivers. Gets those stories and those interesting tidbits of information that you need inside the broadcast. So. Been a lot of fun working with him so far this year. We like to make fun of each other, which hopefully the people at home enjoy that as well. And we're ready to do it again here tonight.
There you have it. That's Chase Rodman joining us here on Mostly Motorsports. Again, you can listen to Mostly Motorsports every Monday from 12 noon to 2 o'clock every Monday.
And he mentioned in that interview, it'll be interesting to see this. Of course, we taped this interview, had it on the air live before the Kokomo race,
right,
which was Tuesday. He said it'll be interesting to see how Brent Marks does at Pocono. Well, not as good as Brent Marks had hopes. He started 17th and ended up 16th in the A main. Of course, Tyler Courtney won the race, Spencer Baston second. Buddy Kofoid coming over from the World of Outlaws, using one of his 4 races at Kokomo, and he ends up in 3rd and then goes out last night and beats Carson Macedo on the last lap at Attica Raceway Park.
That was a daring move by Buddy Kofoid. They went down the back straightaway, and I think they made a little bit of contact. Don't you think?
I think
down?
so.
Yeah, I think so
just
too.
Barely. It wasn't much.
Just barely touched a little bit.
But it was clean. It was a clean.
It was a clean race.
Yeah, those two guys were clean. How about the night Sheldon Hodenshield had last night at Attica? He got upside down twice in that feature event last night. The last time in turn number 4 took a wild flip. They used up 2 wings on that car, and he still came back and finished 12th. How about that? Replaced a front axle the second time, did some other repairs on that car. The second flip was much worse than the first one, but for Sheldon Hodenshield to still come back. And we saw his dad, Jack, was down there helping out.
Kirk,
that was a crazy night for Sheldon Hodenshield.
Were you a little disappointed in Anthony Macri last night? He started 10th. He ended up running 11th.
Yeah, of course, we always remember Anthony doing very well on the big half-mile racetracks, not so much on the shorter tracks, although he did win at the Texas Motor Speedway dirt track in the High Limit Series. But, yeah, not as good a night as what Anthony would have hoped.
And Corey Day, he started 8th, and he ran 9th. And listen, that is pretty non-typical for Corey Day.
Yeah, he'd been running up front about everywhere.
He's been running up front just about every race that he runs in.
But to Corey Day's defense, probably a track he's never been to before.
Right.
I doubt very much he's been to Attica. And, I heard last night they were talking about, of course, Attica's been a racy track, but it's been so dusty over the last several years. Last night, it was not dusty at all because they had brought in about 150 truckloads of clay from another location, and they did a great job of bringing that clay in and doing away with the dust, and it was still a pretty good racetrack. How often do you see they bring in new dirt to a racetrack
and it not be dusty?
And have some issues with it. They did a great job. It was a great racetrack.
Outlaw Speedway in New York.
That was dusty.
That was about as dusty a race as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, Kurt?
I mean, we're watching this on video. You couldn't
even see the cars come off of turn 4.
It kind of reminded me of the World Finals at Charlotte a few years ago when it got so bad you couldn't see the cars.
Reminds me of the ASCS race when we went up to
Black Hills
Speedway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate dust.
Yeah, when you
do you remember when they pushed the tires in up there at Black Hills Speedway?
And that's what kicked up all that dust, right?
And everybody went down to the bottom, and they just started kicking up the dust.
That's what kicked up the
That's
dust.
what did it.
Right, yeah.
But you know what's so interesting about Attica the last few years, even though it was dusty, it was still good racing.
Right.
And for that's the best job of bringing in new clay and making it work that I've seen in a long time, what they did at Attica Raceway Park. Great job up there. The Outlaws are going to be at Sharon Speedway tonight. So we'll see how Sheldon Haudenschild does at another one of these home tracks.
Is that Silver Crown race going to be on TV, Kurt?
Tonight, yeah. The Flow Racing is carrying the USAC Silver Crown and Midget Racing at Belleville tonight. Mm-hmm. They'll have it all. We watched it last night. So Cannon McIntosh, after he won the Extreme Outlaw Midget Series race at 81 Speedway, he wins his first USAC midget race in a couple of years last night, and really had the whole field covered. McIntosh looked very strong last night.
Todd, you want to jump in?
I was just going to say we got some. We do have our YouTube page also. We got some viewers over there today, and Ernie's checking in from Branson, Missouri. So it's nice outside, and appreciate you checking in. People don't know if you have YouTube TV on your home TV, you can go on there and just click on racingboys.com, and it'll pop up on your YouTube TV, and you can sit there and watch it on your couch, is what I've been told. And you can just kick back. And
3 different ways you can watch it.
Absolutely.
You go to racingboys.com, click the live link there. You can watch it there, our Facebook page, and YouTube.
YouTube has become the beast. A lot of people have moved to YouTube TV now.
Hey, Kelly's checking in from Central Point, Oregon.
Nice place up
Welcome.
there.
And hey, Todd, you're thinking about retiring up there, aren't you?
If I could talk my wife into moving to a mountain in the I wouldn't be in like the city. I'm going to go up where snow
out there in the country.
Yeah, but
You've been to races in Oregon?
Yeah, absolutely.
I've been there.
Cottage Grove Speedway. Is that still
Cottage Grove and Willamette. I've been to both of them.
Willamette.
Yeah.
That was the longest trip for you guys. You'd be all the way up to the corner and then all the way out to New York.
Let me tell you something about that trip. When we got done at Willamette, Scotty Cook and I drove straight through all the way to Knoxville. Did you know that, Kurt?
How long did that take you?
That's a drive there.
That took us about 36 hours.
And you didn't stop, and you just traded behind the wheel?
We just traded off.
Gas and bathroom breaks.
Scotty and I. Listen, I woke up one time, and Scotty Cook was running 100 miles an hour.
Jennifer wakes up sometimes, and I'll just say, she looks over and then goes right back to sleep because she don't want to know how fast we're going.
Right.
So I don't go super fast like that. But if I can find me a pack of cars to roll with, oh boy, Todd, he's gonna be hanging he'll be in that group of cars going fast.
My old car, I don't know if you know this, Kirk, but I took it over to Shields Automotive the other day. The check engine light come on.
Uh-oh. I don't like that.
And the camshaft is out of time in that car.
So you're breaking news that we're going to have to spend a lot of money getting that car fixed?
Well,
I think that maybe we could take it back to McCarthy and get it fixed out there.
Yeah.
Because they put the new pistons and rings in it, and maybe we can get them to fix it.
Fix that part.
Yeah.
Sounds expensive to me.
No.
How many miles you got on that thing?
193,000 miles.
We just had it wrapped, so don't we need to have that
listen,
for
Kirk,
a while.
Listen, I'm thinking about buying a new motor for it.
Well, they do that now.
We could just buy a new motor for it and just plug it in there and just make it a new car.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of people
What
are
do you
doing.
think about that, Kurt?
Now, how many thousands of dollars are we talking about
Well,
there?
it's actually cheaper than a new car.
It would be cheaper than a new car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's wrapped.
And it's got a new transmission in
Yeah,
it, right?
It's got a brand new transmission in it.
So you should be good to go.
Right.
You just put new tires on it.
Yeah.
Just put new tires on it,
It's
and
ready to
maybe
roll.
we'll put a new motor in it.
If that's what it takes, then.
Maybe we'll find out what the cost of that.
My old car
We
just
probably
hit-
spent more, on all of these things than it would have been had you just gone out and just bought something.
Yeah, by the end, maybe. but-
Hey, maybe we should look into maybe buying a short bed
beater.
Just a truck.
Well, we've got a truck out here already. We've got a truck.
Hey, maybe we can just buy a new truck.
Sell that one. Sell the.
Sell the truck that we have now, and sell the car that we have now.
As long as we don't have to take out a loan, I'm okay with it.
And get one truck
and
be done with it.
We paid $12,000 for that truck.
You can sell
and
it.
we paid $3,400, and then we had to put a transmission in it. It was $3,400. I'm thinking that if we sell both of them, maybe we'd be able to
Buy a
put
truck.
a good down payment on a new truck.
Well, you work out the best deal you can. Just don't borrow any money to do it.
Kirk said, "Don't borrow any money."
You know how many miles my car just hit this weekend? 251,000 miles.
251,000.
What kind of car is that?
It's a Kia Forte. Now
those foreign cars run better than the American.
Now Kia gets a bad rap because what happened was Kia switched their engine program. See, I have an old Kia, not the new one. I've got a 2011 or 13, maybe 13, I think. But my Kia has the old Honda it's the Honda old Toyota engine. I can't remember which one it is, but my mechanic said, your car will fall apart before this engine falls apart. And he said, he goes, everything will fall off on this car before. And so he goes, drive it till it dies. Well, I hit 251. Here's how long I've had this, guys. I've only drove 2 cars down to the Chili Bowl. Well, 3, but I used my wife's once. But I only drove 2 different cars to the Chili Bowl. I had that HHR, remember when I had the
Right, yeah.
And then this car. I drove my wife's Prius down there one time when she had an old Prius, but I've only had 2 cars since I've worked with you guys. So I've been, like I said, in 12 years, 11 and a half years, I've done pretty well with my 2 used Beaters.
Yeah, you have.
I
first remember you that Chevy. What was that?
Chevy HHR. That's right. So I had the HHR
Yeah, I remember
for
that.
about a couple weeks, and then I got right into like you said, I will not bash anybody for driving an older car because I love not having any car payment. Me and my wife have never not had car payments, and we've had no car payments now for the last year and a half, and it's pretty nice not having a car payment.
Maybe we should check into putting a new motor in the old Equinox.
That's maybe what
I've got 2 more car payments to make.
How about that?
I just flipped the odometer over 100,000 miles.
But you only got 2
last
payments
week.
left on that bad boy?
Yeah.
That's pretty good, Kirk.
4 years, and like almost no interest.
Well, here's what I like about Kirk's.
No interest?
Well, I think it was like 1.something%.
Yeah, he got in back when it was still
Yeah.
good. You know what's really cool about Kirk's car, though, now? It looks nothing like his old Toyota.
No.
On
I
the
had that one for 10 years.
Well, inside-
I put 200
That thing had a lot of dents on it.
I put 235,000 miles
Not
on it.
only-
It had a lot of
Over
dents
10
in
years.
it, Kirk.
Yeah, it was.
Not
it
only
wasn't
did it
looking
have a
good.
lot, not only
I
did-
didn't get much out of it. I didn't get much out of it when I got rid of it.
That-
either.
Kirk is a little accident prone.
It was junk.
That front-
yeah, but my Equinox looks great right now.
No, it does. But that front seat
Hey,
of
but
that Toyota, oh my God!
Hey, listen, Kirk.
That Toyota seat. was-
You've ran into a couple things with that car too, haven't you?
yeah, but he's been able to fix them.
The last one was not my
Yeah,
fault.
he had a rabbit jump out. And
Well, I had a rabbit, but the last wreck, a guy ran
that's right. You had a guy hit you
into me at an intersection.
Yeah.
He had no insurance.
Was that right up here at this intersection?
No, at
Independence.
Sterling and 23rd Street.
What happened up here on 64th Street?
That was on my way to Joan Ellis's funeral a couple years ago.
You
That
ran
was
into somebody.
No, I ran into the back of. They had a parade on Antioch up here, and I was turning to look at it and ran into the back of somebody. That was my fault. But the most recent accident last fall was not my fault, and worse yet, the guy had no insurance.
The best part about now, though, you can get in Kirk's car and go for a ride with him. Whereas his old car, you couldn't sit in that front seat with him.
You know what I normally do? When I ride with Kirk, I usually drive, don't I?
Well, yeah.
I don't mind it.
No,
you don't mind driving. You don't mind me driving at all.
Well, first of all, you're not a very good passenger at all.
I know it.
So I'd rather have you drive because I don't want to hear from you.
You know what's funny? You say that's Kirk, and the only times that I've driven Scott maybe 3 times around, he's ridden with me as a passenger, and the one thing I can remember him. Hey, man, you may want to slow down. There's a lot of, he constantly reminded me to slow down, and I was thinking, this is a race car driver, and he's worried about me going a little fast. I just thought it ironic that the race car driver was worried about me driving a little too. But that just tells you, you're not used to sitting without that steering wheel, my friend.
Listen, I pay attention to my speed.
I know you do.
When the speed limit is 70 miles an hour, I run 78 miles an hour. Because I've ran all over the country, and I've ran by many a cop running 78 mile an hour, and they don't pull you over.
They don't mind it.
But listen, if you get to 80, they will pull you over.
Well, here's what's weird now. Nowadays, I don't know what's
You say how many over the speed limit?
It used to be
8 miles an hour over.
Yeah,
but 5 was okay.
Yeah. And then when it's 65, I run 71.
Yeah. 6 is fine on that.
Because I've been pulled over at 75.
You know where you got to really watch is driving through these small towns.
That's where you get hit.
Where was that coming back from Lake Ozark Speedway one night?
Where'd you get busted?
Tipton, Missouri.
Tipton.
Late at night. I'm rolling through town. I got busted.
I got pulled over in Nowata, Oklahoma.
So you got to be careful in these small towns when you're driving.
When I was coming home from Chili Bowl one year, I was flying through on 69 highway through Kansas, and I got right through that little town called Nowata, is what it's called, Nowater. And it used to be a town back in the day, and there's not much left, couple things, little gas station, and I come zipping through there, and it was cold, it was snowing, it was Chili Bowl time, and he pulled me over, and he says, I understand. I told him where I was coming from and where I was trying to get to, and he said, he didn't give me the ticket. He said, just
slow down.
Slow her down when you come through. I said, look, I come through here twice a year. I usually don't. I said, I missed this. And he said, get on back to Kansas, my friend. I understood it.
Right. Hey, Kirk, set up this Brady Bacon interview, would you?
Of course, we heard Brady in the first hour, and this portion we talk about his opinions on some big events that are going 410 racing this year and some other topics of discussion you'd be interested in hearing. More of Brady Bacon from last Monday's Mostly Motorsports show.
Let me ask you about the Jesse Hockett Daniel McMillan Memorial. Now that it's going to be a 410 race, are you going to go down there and run that race?
I'm not real sure. I know that had been changing and kind of shuffling around. I haven't seen. It was not going to be on my schedule. I think there's a conflict maybe with USAC. So I'm not sure that it.
Yeah, you're at Circle City and Tri-State that weekend, unfortunately. That's where
it's 20,000 to win at Hobstadt that weekend, so that's going to be pretty hard. And we won that race last year, so that's pretty hard to turn down. So, but Mother Nature might, call an audible for us. But
right,
we'll just have to see how it goes. I hope it's still successful. Being 410s, that's probably going to affect the wing car count a little bit. But
yep,
it got to a point where there was almost too many cars to do the amount of racing that they needed to do and the amount of days that they had. And I think the track kind of suffered from it sometimes. So, maybe trimming some of the car count might actually put on a better show for the fans.
Hey, what do you think about the Short Track Nationals going to a 410 race as well?
I mean, I like that idea. You know, they were scheduled to have a high limit race at Texarkana. Texarkana is small enough that I think some of the 360 guys feel like they can still be competitive if they brought their 360s. There's also the Elite, series down there that's kind of an open rules, and there's more people having 410s, and we talked about earlier with ASCS having its struggles. I think that there's more people that were just getting 410s to have more options to race, and it'll definitely get some big names. That's another issue that 360 racing has had, is not really any nationally known names to draw fans, and I think that race is going to pay $20,000 to win the short track national, so you're going to have some pretty high profile names go down there and race that race, and I think that's what you got to have nowadays to separate your event from everybody else's, is have the big names come, and it's got to be spectacular to get people off the couch and come out to the racetrack.
When you ran ASCS, it was you, Shane Stewart, Jason Johnson, Wayne Johnson. There was a lot of
Gary
star.
Wright.
There was Gary Wright. There was a lot of star power in ASCS back in the day when you ran it, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. It was a good series. It was kind of like that stepping stone series, and also a place where the older guys, Wayne Johnson I guess wasn't as old back then, but
Right.
Gary Wright,
Yeah.
Jeff Swindell, they had a place to still race close to home. And they were established in those areas, and then it created. You have to have someone established to create new established names, and you had that older versus younger, dynamic. That I still have people when we go to Texarkana for a USAC race. I watched you when you ran ASCS or West Memphis or things like that. So there's definitely race fans in those areas. They just need someone to, cheer for.
Before we let you go, Knoxville in a couple of weeks. You're always looking forward to that, but I'll bet you're looking forward to a better finish than what you had last year there too, aren't you?
Yeah, that was another tire. We were a victim to a tire failure last year. But we led most of the race until I think like one lap to go, and I think we wound up second or third. But we have a really good program for non-wing sprint cars at Knoxville. I think the scheduling that they have now works really good with the Hall of Fame induction and USAC being there on the same weekend. So we'll run Friday just a USAC car, and then Saturday we're going to pull double duty with the 21 and the 69. So it'll be an exciting weekend. We always love going to Knoxville. I think my family's coming up. Kids are coming. They like Knoxville. It's just a great place to go and race, and we're looking forward to it.
All right. That's Brady Bacon. His thoughts on the short track nationals and the Jesse Hockett Danny McMillan Memorial. Those were interesting thoughts, weren't they?
It really was. And like you said, it isn't like he's talking out of somebody that doesn't know. He knows. He knows everything, right. And he has really good, strong opinions on everything. And like you said, if you want to listen to that full interview, it was a very long interview.
That was episode 312.
312, and you can find it anywhere you get your podcast.
Isn't it crazy that we've done 312 episodes?
I told somebody at a high school thing the other day, and they said, I forgot you're doing that podcast too. And I said, yeah. I said, I haven't been doing it full time like they had been. I go, but I said, we've already done over 300 episodes. And he was kind of amazed, because you know as well as I do, when you go to a website, there's not a lot of places that have over 100 episodes banked in their catalog, unless you're somebody major. But luckily for us, we have a sponsor. That helps. There's a lot of guys doing podcasts that don't have sponsors.
Right.
That's kind of what separates.
We're so lucky to have Rod End Supply,
and that separates us from what I consider other podcasters. We have I let everybody know we're on terrestrial radio. People that are podcasters wish they could get a show on terrestrial. You could dog the AM dial all you want, but there are still people dying to get a show on that on the AM side because that is still being listened to all across the board.
Listen, if Kirk and I were to ever retire from Sports Radio 810 WHB, somebody would try to get a motorsports show over there.
Absolutely.
That.
And here's the thing. And if it wasn't one of those shows, somebody else is going to jump in that lineup because
Right.
It's good listening. People listen in their cars still. I know some cars don't have AM now, which is kind of sad.
Right.
But I also saw that there's a new feature. There's some, I can't, what car companies offering an AM jam for your car. How about that? So you can get that added. So remember back in the old days, AM was part of your standard thing. Now it's a feature that you have to add to your car.
back in the day, we listened to AM radio all the time.
All the time.
I've got the worst AM antenna on my car.
So I found something for you,
Is
Kirk.
there a way to
Yes,
fix
there
that?
is. Yes, there is. So you take it. You go to the radio people. We have a couple here in town. I know Santa Fe Auto Sound and Overland Park. But what they do is they take a wire and they ground the radio to your frame. So what's happened is the antenna, the grounding situation is not as
right.
good. Yeah, and it happens a lot with the newer cars because here's why. A lot of people don't listen to AM. So therefore it's not a big, it works, everything's fine. But what they do is they run a new ground wire, and that allows you to be able to pick up all your AM jams.
Kirk, you can go to Independence Audio out there.
There you go.
There. Right up the street.
Yeah.
You know on 23rd Street, Independence Audio?
I know where it's at.
Yeah.
Call them up when you
check
get
that
home
out.
and say, hey, I'm having issues with my AM side. Is there a way I could check and see if we can reground my antenna? And apparently that's been solving a lot of the issues. But
You know, the worst part about it, the Kansas City Royals are not on FM radio in this town.
No,
that is
and they're
terrible.
winning, and it's sad to be able to not.
So you got to listen on scratchy AM radio.
Luckily for me,
I love AM radio.
I'm an AM jam. We're part of the AM.
My truck
It's not
doesn't
as clear as FM radio.
My truck does not get AM radio.
So I'm telling you, I think if you got your stereo grounded, and what they do is they run.
I'll take it in there and have them look at it.
Yeah. And
Kirk, there was a bad wreck out there at Lakeside Speedway last night, wasn't there?
Some guy got upside down
Man,
at
I
the
heard
end
that.
of the A mod or the B mod feature.
Yeah, the modified.
I'm not really sure about
modified
that.
feature. We only have mods now.
I didn't
Right.
see it.
No A, no B, just mods.
Just
TV.
mods.
But yeah, I heard. So they were running
They got B's and E's.
B's and E's. But they were still. I don't know what time they got over. Maybe somebody can say what time they got over last night. But I believe I heard it shut down. I did not hear any more cars after 12:30 last night. I
So
think
they ran late again last
Well,
night?
I think maybe midnight was how, and I could be wrong, guys. I could very well be wrong. It could be other cars out running on the highway, but I know at around 11 o'clock I was still here. But Lisa had already posted Victory Lane photos by midnight something, so I'm sure they were done.
So
not
B mod winner was Aaron Morant
how about that?
over
And I-
Shadron Turner. That's an
That's
upset.
That's exactly
Hey,
right.
Kirk, what channel is the Indy 500 on?
It's
right
not
now?
Peacock.
It'd be on Peacock,
Peacock.
channel.
You
is
don't
carrying
have
that.
You don't have Peacock, I don't think.
Or NBC? Are NBC carrying some of that
No,
today?
well, today the last round
Yeah.
of qualifying, but you have to have Peacock in order to.
I watched Peacock all day yesterday. Dylan Welch, by the way, does a great job.
does a really
in the
good job.
pits there,
Right.
with Peacock. Aaron Morant wins the B mod feature last night. Casey Shields, USRA stock cars. They had 6 305 Race Saber sprint cars last night.
We need 5
Jay
more.
Russell, the
We need-
winner in that one. And the other winners were Aaron Jones in E-Mods and Ed Knoll does it
Little-
again in Pure Socks. He's on a little bit of a winning streak out there.
Not-
He is. He's won 2 weeks in a row.
That's right, little Ed, not the Ed Ed's kid. This is Ed's son.
19
I think Big Ed won
entries.
last week.
No, maybe, but
I think Big Ed
yeah,
won last
but I
week.
do know that the son has gotten 2 wins already because I've seen the pictures from mom and dad smiling proudly with
Right.
out there at Lakeside.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Track Talk here on RBN, the Racing Boys Broadcasting Network. It's all been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We want to thank Brady Bacon, Clinton Boyles, Jack Wagner, Chase Rodman, and Brady Bacon again for the second time. What do you think? Good show today, huh, Kurt?
It was. Hey, Humboldt ran last night. Ryan Gilmore wins the B-Mod feature down there at Gilmore Speedway, or at Humboldt Speedway last night. Ryan Gilmore, the winner. Yeah.
All right. For Todd Surprise, for Kirk Elliott, I'm Scott Traylor saying thanks for joining us here on Track Talk. It's all been brought to you by Rod End Supply, featuring the POWRi Midwest Lightning Sprints. We'll see you next week right here on Track Talk.
Go harder, faster, stronger with Rod End Supply. Whether you are running industrial, farming equipment, or a race car, Rod End Supply has the assortment of rod ends, radius rods, and specialty products that will help you lead the field in performance. Our superior design means our rod ends last longer and perform better, giving you the edge on the track and saving you money. Contact Rod End Supply or order online today at rodendsupply.com. We don't just sell them, we race them. rodendsupply.com. Serving the racing community for over 30 years.